I'm good. I just realized that. Oh, good. Oh, good. So we need today a block, one thick block. This one. So if anybody has thin, grab a thick one from your neighbor. A bolster. And I would also suggest a blanket if your mat's not thick. Because we are going to be in this pose, standing Vajrasana. And we're also going to be in the side plank. So if you need that extra padding, it can be helpful. And I think everyone's here. Looks like it. I'll wait till everyone's at their spot. Handed a little slip of paper out to everyone. Mantra that we're going to be reciting together. I'm glad you're here. You're here. So most of you know I did a yoga retreat / pilgrimage to India. I was gone for 10 days, the longest stint of time I've been gone before. So I'm glad to be back, but I was telling Beth, I'm actually feeling a little depressed. I loved Rishikesh. And I really resonated with Rishikesh and kind of felt like it was home. So I'm having difficulty coming back into this world of consumerism, into this society that is so disconnected from spirituality after being inundated in it for so many days in a row. Literally, Rishikesh is called land of the gods, home of the sages. And everywhere you look, there's reminders. There's temples, like we have churches on every corner. But there's also paintings everywhere on the streets. Even some of those that are impoverished are on the streets. You can hear them chanting under their breath. In fact, one gentleman down by the Ganges River, I walked past him and he's saying, Ram, 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 just on repeat. Literally everything they do in their culture is intentional and purposeful. And like I said, it's a little difficult to come back here, but I'm glad to be back home. Still dealing with jet lag. But this class that we're going to do is me bringing India home to you. I went to India in the late 90s when I used to be a flight attendant for a major airline carrier. I was fortunate to hold 2 of those trips a month for a year and a half. And I was a complete tourist when I was there before. I'd go visit the temples and I had no idea who these deities were. I had no idea what that swastika on the side of the temple meant. The Germans took it, twisted it, and ruined it. But now, 23 years after being on the yogic path, I was able to go back to that culture and I was able to comprehend more and understand more because of all the studies that I've done. I was able to put together a lot of the Indian myths that I like to share with you guys. They happened at specific holy places there. And so when I went to these holy spots and I knew the stories behind them, it was so overwhelming. I just cried happy tears. It was a feeling of like it had come full circle. There were 8 of us that went. Usually India, when you go there, it's sensory overload and it's a lot because it's so drastically different from here. But every single person adapted to it easily. We all got along and we held space for each other, and it was one of the most beautiful trips I've ever done. So I highly, highly suggest if you ever go to India, go to Rishikesh. In the 90s, I'd gone to Mumbai and Delhi, big cities, full of pollution, overpopulated. Rishikesh is not overpopulated. It's at the foothills of the Himalayan mountains. The air is cleaner. Even the water is cleaner. The Ganga, or the Ganges River, is considered a holy river. And so a lot of people that live in India actually go to the Ganges River as part of their pilgrimage. And they go and dip themselves in the river. It's really like a baptism, because the river and the Ganga represents purification, cleanliness, and cleansing all of your sins. So it's really like they're going to baptize themselves in the river. At one point, there was a gentleman who, we had one token man who went with all of us ladies. It was wonderful to have him there. And he's a very devout Catholic. And one day at breakfast, he said, "Hey, you guys, if anybody wants to go with me, there's a Catholic church about a mile away, and I'm going to go to it." And he said, it looks like an interesting church. Instead of having Jesus on the cross, like most Catholic churches have, it has Jesus coming out of the Ganges River. And I'm like, I'm going with you. So 4 of us went on this trek, about a mile and a half away. We went to this Catholic church. And when you walk into the church, there's no pews like there are here. Everybody sits Indian style on the floor. But the pulpit had this beautiful engraving of Jesus coming out of the Ganges River. And it was decorated kind of like a shrine, like any altar would be, with flowers. And what I really liked, on the sides of the church, they had the Om symbol, the Yin Yang symbol, all of these other symbols that are more Eastern. And I thought, how cool is that? It's so welcoming and so inclusive. And John, the gentleman who went with us, he was confused by it. He's like, I'm still confused on why these symbols, and there's a harmonium and a tabla drums on the floor. And I'm like, well, this is their culture. Instead of having a pipe organ, they have a harmonium. And I said, I do realize why they have some of the symbols in here, because in Hinduism, they do believe in one God, even though they have all these gods and goddesses. They do believe in one. And they look at all these gods and goddesses as being expressions of the one, carrying different attributes of the one. And I said, for them, they welcome Jesus into the fold. He's just another saint, another God they can bring into worship. And I'm like, that's what I'm seeing represented here. Right across the street from the Catholic Church was a leprosy colony where people are being taken care of, and they're trying to take some of the some of the bad vibes away from it. So anyone can go and participate within this colony. And of course, you had all the temples that were there dedicated to different gods and goddesses. We got to do some of the offerings. There were ceremonies at the Ganges River every morning, every night, where you're offering a beautiful arrangement of flowers and incense and candle. And then you see them all floating down the river. It's really, really beautiful. So I'll go ahead and start the conversation about the Ganges River, because I've never talked about the Ganges River and its origin, according to the myths. So one of the myths says that Vishnu, who is the god of the waters, went up to Brahma, the god of creation, up into heaven. And while he was visiting Brahma in heaven, Brahma was so overjoyed that Vishnu had come up to visit him that he decided to show him some reverence, and he started to wash his feet. And as he's washing Vishnu's feet, the water that was spilling from the bucket and the water that was pouring off the god's feet fell onto the earth and formed the Ganges River. It's one story of her origin. The second story of her origin is from Shiva. Shiva is the god of transformation, the god of time, and he often was sitting in meditation in the Himalayan mountains. Anywhere you go where there's no artificial light, if you ever go to, say, Sedona or into the desert, and there's no artificial light blocking your stargazing, you can literally see the Milky Way in the sky. Same thing if you're on top of a mountain somewhere. So Shiva, sitting and meditating on the top of a mountain, looked up and saw the Milky Way, and he wanted to bring that celestial peace down to the earth. And so he brought the Milky Way down into his long locks, and it fell from his locks onto the mountain he was meditating on and flowed down the mountain and created the Ganges River. So with the Ganges River in mind, think that water is equivalent to life. One reason that NASA keeps wanting to go to Mars and, get all these little, test run to see if there has been water on that planet, because if there has been life. Water equates life. So that Ganges River is really important. There was another day we went upstream, up more into the Himalayan mountains to visit a cave. And it was Vasishi's cave, and he was one of the original yogic and Vedic sages. And he lived and meditated at one of these caves. When we were able to go sit in the cave, it was so warming to the heart. And when you sit in meditation, how your heart just almost diminishes. You get so still and you get so relaxed that you just barely feel your heartbeat. No, it was all hearts in that cave. And right up the river from that point was a cave that had belonged to his wife, but that was also turned to Jesus' cave. During a time when Jesus was traveling between the ages of 12 and 30, there's some point where he went to India. There's records of him being in India, studying with the rishis, studying and meditating with the sages, even staying at a Buddhist monastery. And the records of him staying and meditating with this cave by the Ganges River, we went to sit and meditate with it, and we all felt overwhelmed with unconditional love. And tears just flowed down all our cheeks because you could feel it. And while I was meditating at the Jesus cave, all these little stories from the Bible coming up to my mind of him accepting and forgiving and loving and being accepting and forgiving and loving and being accepting and forgiving and loving, being accepting, forgiving, and loving. Unconditional love permeated from that spot. So if you ever go to Rishikesh, you must go to those caves. So the class that I'm going to do for you today is directly from India. I designed it like they design their classes in India. They begin, namaste. We're going to chant and open up our vocal cords. Each class had a different chant they would do. I brought one in that you've heard me say before, something that's not going to push anybody's buttons, because Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha means yoga neutralizes the vortexes of the mind. Yoga calms down all the mental chatter and mind stuff. Yoga can neutralize the stressors of the mind. So you can say it in multiple ways, but what we're going to do is I'll chant the first word, you chant after me. We'll do that a couple rounds, and then we'll do it all together in one piece, and we'll repeat it over and over and over again, just to set the stage and the intention for this practice, okay? So your hands can rest down to your lap. Go ahead and sit on the edge of a bolster or a block so that you have a little bit of a platform. Close your eyes. And just breathe in a deep diaphragmatic way. Now that you've been allowing the breath to anchor you into your body, onto this mat, which is going to be your sacred space for your practice. In this place where we're collectively meeting and communing together as one. Let's begin. Repeat after me. Yoga. Chitta. Vritti. Nirodha. Yoga. Chitta. Vritti. Nirodha. Yoga. Chitta. Vritti. Nirodha. Now we're going to do it together, but let's bring our hands to prayer position at the heart and allow your thumbs to come to the top of your breastbone. And then we'll do it in seat together as one. Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. We're gonna do that one more time, but I want you to sing it from your diaphragm, from your gut. And I want you to feel that vibration where your thumbs are meeting your chest and feel that hum, the vibration, that tingling from your lips. Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. Relax your hands to your lap. Go ahead and gently begin to open up the lids of the eyes. Keep your chin parallel to the earth. This will be the inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to turn the head over to the right shoulder. Looking sharply through the right corner of the eyes. Inhale to center. Exhale, keep the eyes open. Gaze over the left shoulder, looking sharply through the corner of the eye as far as the drishti. Inhale to center. Exhale to right. Inhale to center. Exhale left. Continue this. You're welcome to use your diaphragmatic breaths. You're also welcome to bring in that oceanic breath, the one that's more audible to hear. So what I found interesting in all the local classes that we took, they opened up with chanting, right? Vocalizing the intention of the practice. But they also started with the neck. And if you remember from our chakra series, the heart is the place of integration. It's the middle chakra. And the throat chakra is the beginning of the higher tiers, the more spiritual centers. So they're tapping you into that right away. Good. The next time you bring your head to center, exhale, lower the right ear down towards the right shoulder. Good. Inhale to the top. Exhale, left ear towards left shoulder. Good. And then we continue. just like we did before. But do it with intention, breathing the head up and breathing out and lowering the head down so that it's not just mechanical. If that's the case, none of us are really in sync with each other. Our breath is different. Our lung capacity varies person to person. Last one. And then just gently and ever so slowly roll your head in circles. Notice the spots that get kind of crunchy. Maybe go slower in that area and then reverse your circles. Good. Coming back to center. Your arms are going to reach out in front and you're going to create fist with your hands and you're rolling your wrist. And just keep rolling that same direction you began that formation with. And then we'll now reverse it and go in the opposite manner. It's hard to isolate the wrist because you want to start getting your elbows moving too. All right, inhale, bring the arms straight up overhead. You want to try to straighten out through your elbows and really reach the fingertips up towards the sky. Splay the hands open. Have your palms facing the front side of the room. Notice what muscles are waking up or warming up in your body. Focus on the lengthening through the shaft of the spine. Any sensation you feel in your sideways. Maybe the rector muscles alongside the vertebrae or even your core muscles. So a lot of the poses, they held for a bit. Wasn't quite like Iyengar, wasn't as meticulous, but we did hold them a bit. So it can become a little intense at times. As you exhale, let's bring the fingertips down. Soften the shoulders a moment. Then we're going to go right back up. Inhale, bring the arms back up overhead. We're going to clasp the hands and lift the shoulders towards the ears and kind of hug the head with the arms. So it's a little different formation here. A little extra activity and effort required. Notice if it changes your breath work at all. And then exhale, fan the arms back down. All right, we're going right back up with the arms. Inhale, bring the arms back up overhead. You're going to lace your fingers together and then flip the palms to face upward. As you exhale, you're going to lean to the left just a slight degree and pause. Good, inhale, push up and out through the heel of the hands. Exhale, lean a bit more and hold. Good, inhale, lengthen more, and then exhale, take it to a deeper degree. And then inhale back up to the top. Good, exhale, lean slightly to the right, just a small degree. Push up and out through the palms, and then exhale to a second degree. Inhale, lengthen, exhale to more depth. Inhale back to the top, and then exhale, let the arms lower. Right, you start to feel the intensity with the arms. Whew, yeah. Okay, inhale, arms reach back up. Relace the hands, roll the palms skyward, lean your head back, and gaze towards your hands, Haftsudra. Try to keep your arms straight. Your breath full. Your eyes set. So to me, I felt like, whew, this is tapas. The piece of that yogic philosophy, which requires discipline, that also means to heat, to burn, to blaze, to shine. Exhale, let your arms fan out. Bow your head, chin to chest. Try not to collapse your belly or chest, even though your head is lowering. Stay with your breath. The eyes can stay open. And slowly lift your head up. Okay. Now I'm going to ask that you come away from that platform, block, or bolster. And I know some of you are having to straighten one leg or the other. That's okay if you need to, but come to a cross-legged position if your knees can handle that. We're going to cross the arms behind the back. Now you can hold your wrist, your forearms, or potentially your elbows if that's a possibility. So already that's some work for the shoulders. Keep the shoulders hanging down from the ears. Bring in lift into your chest. And as you exhale, you're going to lean over the left side of your lap. Holding and hinging from the hips. And let the heaviness of the head go. We're not necessarily trying to touch the brow to the knee, but if you can, you may. Inhale, let's rise back up. Notice how you crossed your arms. Cross the opposite way now behind your back. And then slightly pivot. Lean over the right side of your lap, hinging forward from your hips. And let your head release. And breathe. Notice if you're holding tension in your mouth or jaw. And if you are, try to let that go. If you're hanging on to any of those passing thoughts, try to let those go, remembering yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha. We're trying to calm the currents of the mind. Think about with a river, there's pockets in the river that are moving slowly and gently. And there's other pockets that have the rapids that can become quite tumultuous. And so we're trying to calm that aspect of the mind. Inhale, bring yourself back up. Exhale to Yoga Mudra. We're moving straight down through the middle. You can really hang out anywhere along the way. If you're more flexible, feel free to come down to the face. But that's not the goal. It's just something that comes with practice. Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. Inhale, let's bring ourselves all the way back up. And then let's release the arms. All right, so inhale, you're gonna lift your left arm skyward. I'll try to mirror you here. And as you exhale, you're sliding your right hand over. See if it's possible to plummet down to the forearm. If it's not, don't go there. Notice how the top arm may naturally want to curve. That's something we do in yin, and this is more active. So we want to stretch out through that top arm and hand. And then open up the breath. Bring that prana into play. Inhale, draw yourself back up. And exhale, lower the hands. Inhale, bring the right arm overhead. Exhale, slide your left hand over. Maybe this is where you need to remain. Maybe it's possible to drop down to the elbow. And then pay attention to that top arm. Increase its acceleration, its length, its might. Breathe into your side body. Inhale, let's bring it back up to the top. Exhale, release the hands. All right, one more, and then we're gonna get into a little flow. So your left heel is gonna come in towards the pubic bone. Your right leg is going to splay open. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take the right hand down to hold the foot, or you can cross it over to the left knee. It depends on how it feels across your body. Sometimes it doesn't feel good. Like, how does it feel to your belly, chest, shoulder, you know? And then take that left arm skyward, and then you're gonna teeter over into Parivrtta Dhanurshasana. And then feel as though you're trying to pivot your heart and peel it open. That's it. Open up your pranayama, your breath control. That breath control will attribute to Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Inhale up. Exhale, release the hands. All right, swapping sides. Right knee bent, left leg is straight, ankle flexed. The left hand can hold the foot or cross over to that right knee. The right arm lifts overhead. Exhale, lean over the straight leg. Parivrtta Dhanurshasana. So everything we're doing here is trying to assist us in achieving Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Working into the body, getting the kinks out, opening up the energetic flow, decreasing our stress, tension, fatigue, and helping to push out any toxins or illness. Inhale, drop back up, and then exhale, release the hand down. Okay, now we're gonna begin a flow. You may want to sit on a block in between your ankles. If you already know this isn't happening for my knees or my ankles, that's okay. You're going to probably need a blanket so that you can come to standing Vajrasana. And you'll do it from this position instead. Okay, so sitting on your heels, block, or standing Vajrasana if need be. We'll do the mechanics first so you're familiar with it. Your hands are going to come into a fist. It's a different version of cat-cow than I've ever been introduced to. Your elbows bend back, your shoulders draw back, your heart protrudes forward, your throat opens up. So this is our cow, okay? So feel the back bend here. And the cat is where the arms reach in front of us, the fingers extend out, the belly pulls in, and you push back into the shoulder blades as your head drops. Okay, so that's gonna be the cat. All right, and we start to do this pretty rapidly, okay? So it's like this. Three, two, one, and then we're gonna come forward, hands and knees. Curl the toes under, lift the knees off the ground to downward facing dog. Now, downward facing dog, each and every Indian teacher actually called this mountain pose. And
don't get confused by that because a lot of different lineages of yoga call poses by different names. And you can see in your body, you can feel in your body how this is creating, sometimes I call it teepee shape. It's also like a mountain. So just think as your body mimicking one of the Himalayan mountains. You're pushing away from your hands, flying up to your seats, creating one of those snowy peaks. For today, drop your heels lower, lower, lower towards the ground and stretch out your calves and ankles. On your next in-breath, lift your right leg up halfway, and then swing that foot through and up between your hands. And if it doesn't come all the way with, use your hand, take it to the back side of the calf and help to assist it forward, and drop your back knee, shin and foot to the floor. Stack that front knee over the ankle, inhale, coming up to Anjaneyasana, your half lunge. The same approach, reaching up through your side body, up through the crown of your head, up through the fingertips. Exhale, the hands are going to come together and you're going to twist to the right towards the windows. Try not to allow the right knee to cave in. So push the knee and the arm together. Lift your navel, see if you can fly it up over your thigh. Turn more through your chest and dial your heart more towards your thumbs. Keep the right elbow lifted. Gaze back behind you. And breathe. Good. Exhale, unwind from the pose. Plant your palms, curl the back toes under. We're coming back to downward facing dog, or what they would call mountain pose. So in some of the myths, Ganga is considered the daughter of the mountain Himalaya. And so was Parvati, one of Shiva's wives. So now notice how you're distributing your weight in your hands. If you feel it more in your pinky fingers, roll some weight towards your index finger and thumbs. And then let's inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, swing that foot forward and up between the hands. Give yourself a helping hand if need be. Drop the back knee, pat it with a blanket if you need it. And then coming up, Anjaneyasana, drawing up through the pelvic floor, up through the navel, up through the arms. Finding somewhere to set your eyes for mental concentration and focus. Exhale, hands together to Anjali Mudra. Rotate to your left. Pushing the knee and the arm together. Turning your heart towards your thumbs. Maintaining control and command of your breath. Lessening any attachment to thoughts. Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. Exhale, unwind, bring the hands to the floor, curl the back toes under, return to downward facing dog or mountain pose. Push away from the mounds of the hands, stretch long through your arms, long through your legs, and press your heels towards the floor today. Stretch those calves. Now we're going to move into that pose dedicated to the sage of the cave that we visited. You're going to lower your left knee below your left hip, turn that foot out to the side, roll down to the sole of the right foot, and fly the right arm skyward. It's a simpler variation, a gentler form of side plank. Now, gazing towards your top hand, if it doesn't strain your neck, bring the index finger to meet your thumb for the Jnana Mudra, and then glue the other three fingers together. This mudra that represents wisdom, higher intelligence, discernment. Good, bring the right-handed knee to table, curl the toes, reset. Adho Mukha Svanasana. What I loved about the Indian yoga, they allowed you to really experience the pose. They weren't rushing to the next one. They weren't trying to get in as many poses as they could, which is more of the American way. Let's bring the right knee down below the hip. Let's offset that foot, lower the left, and reach the left arm up in the air. Jnana Mudra, index finger to thumb. Gaze towards the hand if it doesn't strain your neck. If it does, find an alternative. Exhale, bring yourself back to tabletop position, curl the toes, relift. Downward facing dog or mountain pose. Your head is in between the upper arm bones, the neck is neutral. Now, even though we're sending the effort and the energy towards the pinnacle of the pose, the sits bones, we're actually using the gravity and the gravitational pull to bring some energy down to the third eye, down to the pineal gland at the center of the head, which is our spiritual and emotional center. All right, let's slowly sink down to the knees this time. We're gonna untuck the toes, and this is where we're in standing Vajrasana. So again, use that blanket if you need more padding. We're gonna take the hands simply around the waist. And then we're gonna rock the thighs forward, so the tailbone is pointing down towards the floor. All right, with the thighs set, start to lift your chest, roll the shoulders back, and please don't be very extreme on this first one. Ustrasana Camel. Affirming here as you breathe into your heart with calm faith. I open myself to more and more light. Inhale, drive up. And as you exhale, your hands are gonna come down just beside, slightly ahead of your knees. Your belly's gonna scrunch in. Your upper back's gonna round, and you're gonna ever so lightly touch down with the crown of your head. Squeeze your arms in towards your thighs. Arms squeezing, hands pressing. Now manipulating the energy to the crown of the head, which is about wisdom, unity, oneness. Now slowly sit back on your heels or block. Or come to standing Vajrasana if this isn't good for your knees. All right, round two, okay? Go back to cat-cow. So in Blissful, we did 3 of these. In Gentle, we're only doing 2. Three, 2, and 1. Come forward again to the palms of the hands. Launch back into downward facing dog or mountain pose. So notice, I never did an Uttanasana the whole time in India, except when I did it on my own. Inhale, let's lift the right leg up. Exhale, swing that foot forward and through between the hands, lunging that front knee, descending your back knee. Now, we're gonna have some options here. We can start off the same way we did before in that half lunge. And then we can move into that twist just as before, revolving side angle. But on the second go around, you have the option to amp it up if you choose by curling the back toes under and lifting the back knee off the floor. It's not as gentle, so if you want to keep it gentle, you don't have to move at all. You're already in it. Exhale, unwind, plant your palms, step it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, the left leg's gonna lift. We'll swing that foot through. We'll sink down to the back knee. And we'll start in half lunge. Exhale, hands to prayer, twist to your left. Take it a little deeper if you wish. Unwind, plant your hands, step it back. Downward facing dog or mountain. We're gonna go a little bit faster through the second round for time's sake. Let's lower the left knee below the hip. Turn and plant your right foot. Take the right arm skyward. Create that mudra in the top hand. You can contemplate the meaning, the symbolism of wisdom, higher intelligence, discernment, connection to the divine. You can also take it physically deeper by picking up your right leg, flexing the ankle, spreading the toes, as though you're trying to reach that foot to the back wall. Safely coming down to table, and then launching back to downward facing dog. Moving on to the right side, lowering the right knee, turning down the left foot, Dhyana Mudra in the left hand. Possibly picking up the left foot, flexing the ankle, strengthening the leg and the hip. Coming down to table, downward facing dog next. And we get to do that final sequence of camel and Shavasana. All right, so let's go ahead and come down to the knees, find that extra padding if you need it, untuck the feet, and come to standing Vajrasana. Now we're gonna do the hands differently. We're gonna have the fingertips turning up towards the base ribs, and the heel of the hands coming to the upper round of the buttocks. If that's too much for your hands, flip it the other way. So the heel of the hands are still at the rim at the top of the buttocks, and your fingertips are pushing the tailbone to face the ground. So either way, open up camel. Breathe into your heart space. And affirm in your mind with calm faith I open myself to more and more light. Inhale, come up. I'm gonna give you an option for Sasangasana. You could do it the same way. This is the more gentle way. You could take a hold of your feet, keeping your hips up, keeping your head down. Or you can lock your fingers, lace them up with your arms overhead and rest on your crown. And you have options. So the sutras are all about giving us a recipe of how to live a happier and healthier life, but also how to develop discipline and self-control. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha is just the beginning of those texts. Good, let's gently bring ourselves down. And that's the end of that flow. A class directly from India, back to you. Now, we're gonna do this a gentle way. Because the way we ended that class was shoulder stand, cloud pose, and fish pose. And none of that is very gentle, okay? So we're gonna do it the gentle way. And I'm gonna give you a demonstration first. So the gentle way of doing this, we're gonna tuck and lift, sit on the block, and elevate the feet to waterfall. But this is what I want you to get a visual of. You already know this one. Whenever it's time to go to fish, we're gonna bring the feet down. We're gonna bring the arms up. And we're gonna bring the arms back to the floor. And then we're gonna tuck the shoulders and really lift the chest. So this is gonna be our variation of fish today, okay? We have not done this one in here before. Not this way anyway, not with a block, okay? So go ahead and come down to your back, knees bent, feet flat. Have that thick block in your hand. Pressurize the feet to tuck and lift. Slide the block on its low or middle height underneath your sacrum. Then you're already in restorative bridge. Awesome. Now lift your feet, point your toes, and line your legs up together. Keep your feet over your knees over your hips. So we're not bringing the legs towards the face. Yes. And bring it just slightly forward. Toes point, toes point. Knees kiss. This is much easier for the neck. Very good for circulation. And more importantly, that calming agent for the mind. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Calming those thought patterns. All right, when you're ready, let's lower the feet down. And let's bring the arms straight up. Turn the palms to face each other. And then bend the elbows, let them scrape beside you until they plummet to the floor. And then you're not done. The fingertips are still lifted, but you're gonna push down to the upper arms and you're gonna tuck the shoulders under the body. And that's gonna bring more elevation to the cavity of your chest. So you should feel that fish element, the back bend element, again, without much happening in your neck. You're gonna get a little bit of an opening there, but nothing extreme.
Good, relax your arms, broaden your shoulders, bring your hands down, tuck and look away from the block, slide the block from below. Come on down, hook a hold of your legs, hug them into yourself. Now clip the fingers underneath the crease of your knees. Kick your heels up and rock and roll forward and back several times. Until you come all the way up. We're gonna take the arms and scoop under the knees. We're gonna walk the feet back until we can hover the feet and balance on our seats. Okay, once you have that, lift the legs up a little higher. Choose to stay here or separate your arms, but lift your chest. Navasana boats. Bring the feet down. Hook the arms underneath. We're gonna do that one more time. Walk the feet in until they can hover and you're balancing on your seats. This time we're flexing the ankles. Again, you can stay here holding, or you can release your arms but lift your chest. See if your knees can touch. All right, Shavasana. So the legs, if they need to be bent to do a little scooping and tucking, that may be beneficial. If you want your legs close together or separated apart. See what feels good for your back. So each class did not end with Shavasana. We had some Shavasana, but it ended with breath work. So for now, you're just going to take some rest. Your muscles relax. Hopefully you've calmed the inner currents of mind. Even let your lungs rest. Your breath is naturally flowing. Not any particular style. Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. Let's go ahead and inhale through the nose. Exhale audibly through the mouth. Inhale, stretch your arms overhead. Exhale, hug the knees into your belly and chest. Roll to one side of the body, and you're gonna come up to take a seat for some pranayama. So the first pranayama technique is going to be the Vishnu Mudra, so the first two fingers of the right hand come to the palm. And we'll be using the ring finger and thumb swapping on the nose, just your right hand. Yeah. And so we'll close the right nostril, we'll breathe in through the left side. Pause at the top, swap the fingers, hold down the left nostril, pick up your thumb, breathe out right. Keep that opening, breathe in right. Swap the fingers, breathe out left. Inhale to the left. Swap and breathe out right. Alternate nostril breathing. Inhale to the right. Exhale to the left. Inhale left. Exhale right. So if you have this pattern down, continue. Try not to rush it. Natural pause at the top of the inhale before you're compelled to exhale. That also gives you time to swap the fingers. Balances the brain. Brings harmony to the body. The next time you inhale to the right and exhale to the left, you can drop the hands, free the face, and breathe normal. And then the last pranayama is like the breath of fire. And so if you even think there might be a possibility of being pregnant, don't do this breath, okay? I think most of us are good to go. So with this breath, we're forcing the exhale and pumping the belly in. And you'll find your own pace and rhythm to this, and you'll naturally inhale, so don't stress about the inhale. Looks like this, and you can join in when you're ready. 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Let me tell you, that type of breath can get you so high. Like, yeah. I call it high, she calls it dizzy. Either way, it can bring you a little lightheadedness, so be careful with that type of pranayama. And we're gonna end chanting Om together, so the hands are gonna come to the chest. Take a deep breath in together. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So there is your little taste of India. One of our classes brought directly to you. I plan on giving you a little bit more next week. Maybe sharing a different story, a different mantra, and then after that, I'll go back to my regular style. But I definitely wanted to give you a flavor of what we experienced, and I so loved that they opened and ended with Namaste. So keep your Namaste's going, class.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Robbie.
Oh, thank you.